Wondering if there's some kind of technical issue happening here because there's a comment from here of buffering. I don't know what that is. And actually, I just tapped it on myself, and it's not seeming to. It's very weird. It's very weird what may be happening at the moment. Hopefully, it's connecting. Hopefully, we're not talking just to ourselves
Well,
right here. Oh, now I think it's connecting. So DTC B400. Hopefully, it's finally connected. Yeah, that was a little bit strange. And hey, Greg, got my 3D glasses on. Let's go.
man, because that Hulk Hogan was definitely three-dimensional that we just saw a second ago. So let's go. It's showtime. So
That is that is
let's even
weird.
open
What?
up. Oh, go ahead.
No, that is weird. Whatever was happening of had to. Yes, Buffy. Yes,
Buffering,
Buffy the
Buffy.
buffering.
Welcome,
Yes.
Mr. Campbell. Welcome, DT CB400. So let's open on the t-shirts and then we'll get into our main content. So clearly I'm wearing a Svengoolie t-shirt here. Let me not knock over all the stuff, but let me just show there's good old Sven on his merchandise. And we'll get into that more down the road during the show. Can you comment on your own t-shirt, sir?
Oh yeah. Well, with my shirt, this was this one. How can I prop this up? This one is says Calumet High Wolverines in blue and yellow. Seemed very timely for what is happening in the world today. Not to make light of it, obviously, but yeah, I like this shirt. I love Red Dawn as a movie.
And the blue and yellow colors are especially significant right now.
A shout out to Ukraine. Yes, yes,
Most definitely.
yeah, yeah. I mean, thank you all for joining this. I mean, hopefully with this show, with the Fanboy Cantina channel, yeah, it gives you a bit of a break, a bit of levity, a bit of reminiscing about various things or appreciating toys or what have you. But we recognize that there's a lot of horrible things happening in the world, and so we appreciate you, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of levity.
That's our plan. That's our intent. So, towards levity and towards having a recognition of the 70th birthday upcoming of Rich Koz, we'll catch Hogan on the
Hopefully,
replays.
yeah, yeah.
It's interesting that you missed him, but somehow you didn't miss him. But that's all we have to say about that for now. So, let's start with the time.
There you go.
There's me. There's the man in the hat with the rubber chicken. We were at Fantasy Costumes. I didn't go back and find and dig up the exact date, but this was just a cool moment that we had at a time where you were in town a couple of years back.
Hmm.
And, it's kind of, there's a little bit of a line. It wasn't a crazy long line. So it's not like you're having an extended conversation with Sven at signing events. Yeah. There you go. If you lean over, I'll lean over. Okay. So, just your general memories on what was our encounter with Sven on that day.
It was a good time. Well, it was October 2019. It was before the pandemic. You and I met up at Fantasy Costumes, an icon on the north side of Chicago, and I used to love going to Fantasy Costumes for my Halloween stuff or just for fun. And yeah, it was a great time to be able to see Sven, get an autograph, and get that picture. That was a good time.
So we'll take that picture down so we can stop leaning over. Fantasy Costumes, definitely a Chicago institution, a Chicago legend. We will revisit that theme again. We'll have a couple other, well, Sven himself is a Chicago legend and a Chicago institution, but we'll have some other highlights on some other Chicago legends and institutions. So to start off, back in time, some of your earliest memories from the late 70s, the early 80s, from our first exposure to the show, to the character. What are your blurry memories peering through the clarifier? Oh boy. Oh boy.
Man, come on, come on, come on.
Just
I
look
thought it
up
was
your
a
stories
fine
and we'll
picture. It's
show
a
the comment.
fine picture. It's. it was a fine picture. All right, and actually, uh,
Yes, sir. Portage
that's
Park
right.
is the home of fantasy costumes.
That's right. That's right. And oh, we have a memory that I think we'll get to at some
Yeah,
point here, right, Mr. C?
definitely. That's a bit down the road. We will
All
come to
right.
that, but we'll revisit that
That's a
comment post
distinctive.
imminently.
That's yeah. As a Chicago, you and I are both Chicago guys. I don't live in Chicago anymore right now, but Sven is part of my childhood, right? That's how we grew up. We grew up with the son of Svengoolie, and I have some really traumatic memories of the show.
Happy birthday to the guy that traumatized me. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed, Gamera, Godzilla, that stuff. And then excuse me, the Attack of the Mushroom People, which you and I have spoken about many times on this channel,
Oh yeah.
scarred me for life. It still creeps me out when I see a picture of it. It gives me the heebie-jeebies as an adult. And I think it's called Matanga or Matango or Attack of the Mushroom People, where people get attacked by these people who become these mushrooms, and they got like all this kind of mushroom action. Yeah, scarred me for life, man. Scarred me for
A
life.
little bit scary as it was designed.
How about you?
Well, the same thing. So of that same era, again, I didn't want to do a deep dive on historical of, who was the highlight, who was the mayor at the time, who was the governor at that time. But again, this is a time when we were kind of moving from watching the Muppet Show to incorporating maybe some Knight Rider into our transitions of, moving from third to fourth to fifth grade, that to sixth grade, that kind of a time in our lives. I definitely remember watching Sven, speaking about Sven, with my brother, with the other guys in the neighborhood, the Snayer family down the block from Simon, Joe, Ruben, and Morris. They would have an older brothers in the house before Sven, son of Sven, switched his time slot to Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. Those older Snayer boys were definitely able to stay up and catch it late at night. I can clearly remember them saying, as though it were yesterday, but it's really many, many yesterdays gone by. It was better at night because then it's supposed to be scary. They're looking at it while the sun's up. They weren't scared. So they had a different tolerance threshold than you and me, and that's all right. So I remember the movies. I remember the parody bits. I remember taking the tape recorder. So before the current technology existed, and I'm talking the cassette tape, and we'd be sitting there with the tape recorder on a little stool, on a little chair nearest to the TV as possible. And then when the comedy bits would come on or the song parodies, we'd hit record. And then after the show, both the same day and throughout the rest of the week, we'd listen to the cassettes of the comedy. So as we mentioned, Gamera, the giant turtle. So I remember clearly, I don't remember all the lyrics, but to Olivia Newton-John's Let's Get Physical, that song was parodied during the showing of the Turtle movie. Definitely other times, I can't say which movie it was, but they took police songs for Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. And it was the visuals, the cleverness of it. It was top comedy. So in addition to the scarier stuff, well, the turtle, maybe the giant turtle wasn't as scary as the mushroom people. So there would be different ranges of how much horror or how much sci-fi or how much action there would be. Oh boy. Oh boy. I appreciate the JK. Oh boy. Well, we're about to get into this more, Sven and Bozo, in just a minute. But before, Junkyard is in the house. Woof, 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 Junkyard. All right. I want to know if you know when it came to son of Svengoolie or just Svengoolie. Let me take a long-winded answer to that. But so originally, here we'll get to there in a quick. So both the original Svengoolie and the son of Svengoolie, who then later picked up the name Svengoolie, both of these cats are in the Horror Host Hall of Fame. So as we can see right here, the reigning Svengoolie, Rich Koz, was inducted to the Horror Hall of Fame in 2013, as was his predecessor, Jerry G. Bishop. So initially this show was Screaming Yellow Theater, and his Horror Hall of Fame induction is right here in 2011. So Jerry G. Bishop had his reign as Svengoolie, and then decided he was going to leave town and try his hand on some other things. So some time passed, and then Rich Koz, who was maybe his understudy or maybe his right-hand man, if you will, then decided he was going to pick up the mantle of son of Svengoolie, and the rest is the history that we're going to trace through a little bit. So did you? So until it wasn't until very much later on that I had any knowledge of Jerry Bishop. When we were in those grade school years, had you heard of him? Did you catch any talk of him, or was it just not?
No, I wondered the same thing of why was he the son of Svengoolie? Who was so that would imply there was an original Svengoolie, which I now understand, right, as an adult, but as a kid, yeah, I didn't fully get it. And actually, even though Svengoolie or Son of Svengoolie is comedy, it is fun. I was a scared little kid, man. I just didn't have the stomach for it. So even Svengoolie, even though he was very funny and all of that, he kind of scared me a bit. So I needed to have like my parents or somebody else around to make it tolerable for me, safe.
And that story is baked in your youth and our history, and it's a beautiful thing to have. We'll jump ahead here a little bit, or moving on. I just wanted to show that Sven has been recognized with the Rondo Awards and the Horror Hall of Fame. So that's kind of neat for him to have that. And he has an exhibit at the Museum of Broadcast History. So here up ahead is the signpost as we're entering the Svengoolie zone. So here's that very signpost. And of course, the key exhibit piece there is the coffin. So here comes the question for you. I'll pitch the question, then I'll describe the coffin a little bit. Buy you a few seconds to think about the coffin. Atop the coffin we have here, would you say it's a raven, a blackbird, or a crow? While you contemplate that very serious question, I'll just note that Rich Koz himself did the paint job on this coffin, which was one of the props on the set for many, many years. And eventually the coffin came to be retired, and as it now sits in the Chicago-based Museum of Broadcast Communication. So back to you, sir. What would you say? Crow, blackbird, raven?
Well, I would assume raven because of Edgar Allan Poe, right? The raven kind of action. So I would assume the raven. What is it?
Sounds good to me. Let's go with raven. If anybody wants to throw different bets into the chat in the comments.
Casual Crafter says raven. Yes, I agree with that.
Welcome back, Crafter. And hey, just to catch people up, Crafter's been doing some really fine-tuned work that these hands do not have the skill to replicate. Crafter's been doing some customizations on some Migos within the Star Trek line, so that please do check out Casual Crafter's channel. It's some good pigeon. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh, I shouldn't slap the table. That's not
yes. Thank you for joining Casual Crafter. Casual Crafter has a skill of being able to do the customization work on the heads and the paint work. I was admiring, if you get the eyes wrong, it just doesn't look good. So to be able to do that's truly a talent. And I would never succeed as a surgeon, Mr. C. It would just be
you and me both. We'd be out of it. We better stick to this because that's not our industry.
I can barely do this, but no, we're not. Oh, wait a minute.
Let's not give away the farm too early.
All right,
but we appreciate the contribution.
Okay,
we're coming. We're getting into the 3D.
We'll hold this one. Hold this one. So just before you move on, though, with the Museum of Broadcast Communications, right? That's the place that you were at. So where is this place? I've heard of it, but where the heck is it?
Okay, so again, to watch this parallel. So before Svengoolie was Jerry Bishop, and then became Rich Koz. So before, the museum was in the cultural center, but before it was the cultural center, it was the old library. But then it wasn't that big of a building, so we had to go for the Harold Washington Library to be a bigger building to hold all the books. Now, of course, this was time pre-net and things where you needed physical books and physical materials in the library. So time passes, and the Museum of Broadcast Communications moves out of the Cultural Center from the old library building into 360 North State and Kinsey, right near the House of Blues, right near a lot of other Chicago staple institutions. It's a free museum, no charge. The hours are, it does Sundays through Thursdays, I think. Okay, so again, we've been exposed on our ignorance in the past, and I'll be exposed on my ignorance again here. But it's definitely closed a couple of days, and it's open a couple of days. Right across the hall from Sven, they have a Bozo exhibit, and we might get into that in some future content. It was a real nice trip to come down and check out the stuff. So now that we're speaking on the museum, let's see more of what was in the exhibit.
All right.
And I just want to say, so I just want another, it's the coffin again, but a slightly different shot. So there is a glass partition, and upon that glass partition, you can see in red lettering, and it's, oh, look, the logo matches the shirt and what's in the museum. So now we can see the full coffin, slightly obscured for the lettering though. So off to the side, we have the rubber chickens on the shield, which Sven uses to deflect the rubber chickens, which are thrown at him and to him, which is one of the key staples of the show. If we look lower towards the bottom of the coffin there's a painted skull. We'll come into that some more, and I'm sorry if I'm going to blur it. On the shield that is painted onto the coffin, does it say, can we get close enough? It's one for many, or for E pluribus Benwin. And so that is, again, the classic ongoing comedy bit, is to have the sound effect and to call out Benwin.
Yeah.
One of our local municipalities here, which is celebrated and in good-natured ribbing, that Benwin gets a lot of airtime on the Sven show. Moving over one piece here, slightly over within the exhibit area, we have the keyboards of Doug and the grave tones. And now, okay, as long as we're in the habit of exposing that which we're ignorant of here. So I always knew the musician on the show back to the parody songs from the late 70s, the early 80s. I knew Doug was the musician, but until I saw visually his title card here on his own keyboard, Doug Graves. I didn't get it about digging a grave. The pun was lost on me, and I'm not feeling smart about that.
I didn't get it until you just called it out.
All right. That's so funny. We shouldn't be surgeons. We shouldn't be some other things too.
Oh, and a comment from the Junkyard. NBC also used to host Old Time Radio with Chuck Shaden, where you could sit and watch the show live on Saturdays, unless, of course, you're watching Sven.
Junkyard, we don't have to go into full set of details, but that was a good way to invest your time. That definitely had some definite benefits for you, no question. So good on you for that. All right. Just taking the camera up a little bit higher, up to the wings there. Here's a bat flying around. And now there were some photos within the gallery exhibit. Oh. So speaking of Sven and Bozo here, maybe I don't know what the event was, but there's Bozo to the left, there's Sven to the right. They're at some kind of public appearance thing together, and they had a down moment where they're up in, it's a hotel or it's a viewing area. There's something, they're taking a look over the city. I wish I knew what kind of conversation they were making with each other. Two Chicago legends, Bozo and Sven, together. It's the chocolate and peanut butter. It's the combination of great powers and great forces. Gee, your thoughts on Bozo and Sven as they appear together?
That's amazing. Even though you and I think of them as Chicago legends, they are national legends. The Bozo Circus appeared, I think, nationwide at one time, and same with thanks to the wonders of MeTV. Svengoolie is now not just a Chicago thing. He's a figure for so many. So it's, yes, you're right. You see the two Chicago legends together, these two TV legends together, but yeah, you've got two icons that are part of people's like heritage almost, right? Your earliest memories, or even for that matter, at least in the case of Sven today.
Absolutely. And there were different bozos in different regions.
Mhm.
For our region, starting out with bozo at a way younger age compared to when we discovered Son of Sven, I think how different they were, right? Here's a clown and some makeup, and then, you know, kid friendly, and then here's a horror guy that could be a little bit scary. But when you think about it, Junkyard is saying it was a different bozo in different
Exactly
cities.
what you're saying.
There's only one Sven. Maybe there's a Goulardi, maybe there's a Zachary, maybe there's a Dr. Gangrene, all these regional horror hosts, but there's only one Sven amongst many bozos. I wish I could remember where I was going, but okay. So as time passed, then in more recent times, again, not realizing Doug Graves, you know, both of them are using vaudeville influences. Both of them are wearing some kind of face paint and costuming, and both of them were locally, regionally produced. And again, now Sven runs nationwide now, historically regional TV. So the similarities between Bozo and Svengoolie are greater than I had realized for a long time. All right. A little bit more from the exhibit. And we do have other stuff besides the exhibit, but we're in no hurry. We're trying to show Rich Koz that he's been good to us, and we'd like to just give a little tribute and a little thank you to him. So in this specific shot here that is in the museum and the exhibit, here he is with not a classical horror, but a more contemporary horror, but still a legend. There you go, Freddy Krueger. Right close by to that. So again, there's the lower part of the screen is showing the same Sven and Bozo shot. Just above that, with another legend of horror hosting, is Elvira. Just down in the corner there, it was just a signed black and white of Sven from his earlier years. So it's not that big of an exhibit space, but it packs a lot of stuff in a really, really good way. And as we then move further over in the exhibit, here comes the skull, the talking skull, who when I first knew him was Tombstone. And again, being right at that age, late 70s, early 80s, you got a talking skull in the TV. Holy cow, that was so captivating. Just the jokes and the visual, again, the full experience of it. I was so taken by it. I just revered Sven himself, the son of Sven at the time. And here's his partner, his, you know, the straight man, setup man, and comedic duo interaction. Tombstone's a talking skull. This thing's amazing. Do you have any recollections on Tombstone?
Yeah, I'm going to be embarrassed here. No, I don't remember Tombstone. I think if I had maybe spent more time in the museum, maybe it would jog some memories. And also, as I said, yeah, a lot of it was scary for me as a kid. So maybe I've purged Tombstone from my memories.
That's all. We'll revisit with him again later down the road a little bit here, but at that same table, I should have really asked. Is that Billy Corrigan there in the hat?
Wow,
I'm
that's
pretty
amazing.
Sure.
Yes.
Anyway, think it's Billy Corrigan.
Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins. Again, local legends of a different era, of a different style of music compared to TV stylings. In the background picture there, we got a Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein people in costume. Mm-hmm. And moving on through the other side of the table, at one point in time, the third Doctor of the Doctor Who series, you can see right there in his white hair, came by and did a guest bit with Sven. He was in town for a convention at the time. So that was a pretty good episode to be able to catch up on YouTube. And then if we look deeper into the photo image there, in the back, there's good old Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. But right in front of that is, let's close up on that.
Oh, so there you go.
There's Jerry Bishop, Svengoolie, sitting at his piano in his traditional outfit of his striped pants. Again, so coming out of the late 60s, early 70s, that was kind of a hippie-ish, kind of a hippie ghoul kind of thing that he was.
It just was. I mean, and it should be apparent. Like if you've watched this channel often enough, there's certain things, Mr. C, that are right up your alley, and then there's some stuff. Yeah, it just it lands different for me. Yeah.
Well, and as we were speaking of that off camera, we didn't really design, cantina, but in the cantina, whether it's a Star Wars George Lucas cantina or any kind of cantina, you're going to get all kinds of characters and experiences in there.
You go.
So that's we're just embodying the name of the channel. The cantina has a lot of different things, a lot of different elements.
I really dig this picture. This is a great dig as a word. I really like this picture.
Fitting for the era.
You're right. It's fitting of the era. When you showed the earlier picture of the coffin, it's striking. So I didn't know that Rich Koz had painted it himself. So that's pretty awesome. But also it fits of like it feels like like an album cover or something. It's like of a particular era, but it's a beautiful piece.
Right. It's a timestamp. Before the word timestamp existed, it's a period piece. It's a sign of the times. It captures well the moment from which it came. Now, back on the art business, and that's good because I had the comment ready in my head that didn't get articulated. So Casual Crafter over there has that same outstanding art use of hands as does Rich Koz himself. So the original coffin painting looked like this to match the Jerry G. Bishop rendition or expression of Svengoolie. And then as time passed, Rich Koz then repainted over what we're looking at right now to appear more as he was appearing as there you go. So yes, that's exactly it. Even before it was Svengoolie, it was Screaming Yellow Theater. And even before there were live bits, it was just voiceover with a background card. And people started to take note of the comedic stylings of one Jerry G. Bishop, which then they rode the wave and increased the whole concept of the show and increased his visibility in the show, going from not being visible to being an on-camera character. So it's all good stuff. It's really interesting and fun history to dig into. So then I just wanted to get another shot of the coffin as it originally appeared in context of the set and the studio. So again, it's already pretty awesome that Svengoolie himself would like the. Oh yeah, let's do some of that. So we're going to be looking at some material from Fuzzy Memories TV and Obsolete Video, two separate YouTube channels where a lot of this material had come from. It's already really good that Sven gave a like to the tweet. So even if Rich Koz doesn't see this tribute to him, that's pretty cool. But if we were able to somehow pitch questions in front of him, I suppose we could always email him and that kind of a thing. But I wanted to see for the different assistants or the different cast, right? So Bozo had his cookie and Oliver Oliver and Wizzo with the Stone of Zanzibar. So Bozo had his cast and Sven also has his own cast. So of those first characters, this is Durwood. So Durwood looks a heck of a lot. We'll see better over here. Durwood was like a mini Svengoolie. You can see their hair color is similar. Their scruff is similar for the goatee, the same red shirt. So like any kind of a puppet conversation, they would set up for jokes and banter back and forth with each other. That was really good stuff. So Durwood was one of the definite early characters. Now here's a shot in more clarity, less fuzziness.
Oh my.
So I don't know if that's the original Durwood, but he's still got his old school T-shirt on there, which is showing an image looking like the original Svengoolie. So there's again a more current shot of Sven hanging out with Durwood. So I'm so curious though, like what made Durwood the right prop for the job, or what made Durwood the right personality to deliver certain material? What's the difference between Durwood and Tombstone? How do you decide out of your supporting cast who gets what job or who gets incorporated into what comedic bits or parody songs? I'd love to hear Rich Koz's thoughts on those kinds of questions. And now here we have Zelda. So before there was Tombstone, and here's which brings up the next question. I've been wondering, is Tombstone just a renamed same skull as Zelda, or were they two separate skulls? So as you can see, they did some appropriate at the time, some transparency or some image imposing over there. So you can see Jerry's at the piano playing away whatever parody song they were doing at the time. And then here comes the Zelda talking skull character. Hey, Blue, you're asking again. Yeah, we're live again. Good to have you aboard. Good to have you aboard. Between the skull and the Svengoolie, I said maybe they were having a staring contest. Wouldn't surprise me. That would make for some good TV. All right. We're back. We're all back together again. All right. So just a couple more shots of original Svengoolie. And then this one, I just wanted to look at the air date. So this is August 2, 1973.
Oh, wow.
And under the clapboard there, you can see Durwood's little beady eyes and little fuzzy face sticking out over there. So again, this one I wanted to just include as kind of a timestamp. And catching us up to, here's Tombstone now. So he's got on a crazy glasses. He's wearing a cigar. Let's put a pause on the cigar and come back to that later, because there's a certain other puppet-like character who is known for chomping a cigar during bits. Again, here's a more current, nice clean shot of, sometimes if you're a skull, how do you grow a mustache? Or then how do you shave your mustache? Or what's going on? So Tombstone's continuing to amaze me now, just as he did when we were really young. So here's again a clean current shot of Sven with Tombstone. Given that this is the Batman motion picture weekend, wanted to take a look back at some Bat Sven material, and just like he had to be really hot in this outfit. So first of all, he's got his Svengoolie stuff on. Now he's got a Batman mask, a hard plastic Batman mask, and then he puts the Svengoolie hat on top of the Batman mask. You can see instead of just the bat symbol, we've got some bat wings and a rubber chicken. Props to Rich Koz for going through all that costumery. And again, using the set, here's a door, on the set, on the stage. And here's Tombstone with his glasses on and his cigar. So they did a lot of good material over different times. Exactly. It is exactly Yosemite Sam's. See, that is why we need Blue Sasquatch in here. So if we're able to put these questions to Svengoolie, was Yosemite Sam an influence and inspiration on Tombstone's mustache? Now, that I would have never thought to phrase it that way, but that is the perfect way to pitch the question. And then here's a very short-lived person, or not really person, but bat. So this is Ed the Bat. And Ed wasn't around for all that long, but you can see by Sven's costumery here, it's in the turtleneck era. So mid Jim Campbell. So good. So
no
good.
idea what's going on.
Anyway, okay. So here's what let's find the corner then. Now anchor ourselves if we're not sure what's going on. Kerwin's corner. So the current reigning and most frequently used bit deliverer, sidekick, joke, prop, puppet is Kerwin. And so Kerwin is known for having his joke of the week. I must ask you a question. That was a Svengoolie level pun. Nailed it. Very good, sir. Very good. So, and you can see the Benwin sign in the background because Benwin is such a frequently utilized comedy line. Now, look at that. Besides puppets and superimposed skulls, be it Zelda or Tombstone, or is Zelda Tombstone, is Tombstone Zelda? Besides all that, on the musical accompaniment, as was referenced from the actual keyboards from the museum exhibit. So here's Doug Graves, and his accompanist is Anita Exorcist. So in real life, this is Benwin for life. Benwin for life. So Anita is actually Doug's daughter. And so Doug and Sven go way, way back again to maybe even before they were doing the show together. And so again, here's Anita in front of the newer coffin. And there the three of them are in a more recent comedy bit music parody that they had put together. All right, Junkyard says, I thought the mustache skull with the cigar was a throwback to Groucho Marx. But with the Yosemite Sam flair, you bet your life, where the duck would fall down on a string. You know what? Given the influence and the vaudevillian and the other old-timey influences, who can prove you wrong on that, Junkyard? Who can contradict you on that? I don't think. Yes, yeah.
A little
So
bit of that, a little bit
little
of that Blues Brothers kind of vibe right there.
man, Sasquatch is dropping the blue Sasquatch is dropping the great comments here. That's really good. Okay. And again, just another shot of Sven, the newer coffin, and the Berwin, the classic Berwin poster in the back. Now, currently at the Sven store, the Berwin posters are out of stock. So I don't know what to tell you if you're trying to find the Berwin. So again, we mentioned the old coffin, and as you dig into the history within the last couple of years, so the 40th anniversary was in 2019. So it's at that time that the old coffin got retired and the new coffin got put together. And again, similar repeat experience, as did Tombstone captivate my attention as a youngster. So does now, I hope I'm going to say it right, Body Sorrel. I think the pun is Body So Real. I'm not all the way positive about that. Again, be great to interview or interact with Sven or pitch these questions to him. So then I'm like, wait a minute. Now the actual cover of the actual coffin talks. The eyeballs move, the jaw goes up and down. So now you have Kerwin versus the coffin lid, and it's real good stuff. Kerwin definitely has some rivalry with Tombstone at different times. And so again, it's just how and when and where and why, what's the thought process and the selection and picking which of the props or the characters to incorporate. That remains a curious mystery to me, and I hope we'd be able to hear from Sven at some time about how all that comes together. So now, besides,
can we if you could take it down for a moment, here, the image for a moment here. So Svengoolie, if you are watching, we would love to hear from you. Whether you're watching live or watching later, we would love to hear from you. And yeah, we haven't really had guests on the show, but man, that would be priceless. So shameless ask here, Rich Koz, if you are watching, we would love to have you on this channel.
Yeah, seeing it's your birthday and all, and we're just putting stuff on your to-do list, and in tribute
That's right.
in honor of your birthday.
Spend your birthday by coming to two guys talking on YouTube. All right, back to you, Mr. C.
Thank you, pal. Thank you. So as we said, Doug was along the show for a great long while. We have here a very funny video if you check it out through YouTube, How to Toss the Chicken with George Blaze. So before I saw George Blaze, and here's George Blaze right here, the skull eyes reminding the movie. You know what? I would say general common influence between Tim Burton, who was behind Mars Attacks, and this same material. So good catch again, Blue. I knew George Blaze again you can see the U in the background right there, from the Channel 26 locally, from the community calendar updates or local interest shows. So then when we got to the mid 90s and I see George Blaze, look at that technique. Look at that form. He is pitching that chicken like a champ. Like it says right there, the key.
So is this episode available on YouTube? Can folks see this?
People can just go to their YouTube and just right there, just type in George Blaze, the key chicken toss master, and this will pop right up for you.
Nice. All right.
All right. And now I don't know everybody's name, but I just wanted to show there was a vast supporting cast around for the different comedy bits. So I just wanted to take a look at these two shots for that. And then there were some other people who were maybe more recognizable. So again, taking a shot at yourself back on his original channel, Channel 32, WFLD TV, before there was even a Fox network, not just before Channel 32 joined the Fox network, but there was no Fox network at this time. So we had a highlights show, The Worst of Svengoolie. And again, talking about these amazing team ups, Chicago legends. There's Sven. He must have been hot in the studio. The jacket's off. Look at there's a young Rich Koz in his red shirt. Center stage with that pumpkin costume is Buzz Killman. And over one more body from Buzz Killman, Johnny B, Jonathan Brandmeier, and Sven together doing a special show. They had a bunch of Johnny B listeners in the studio, and they had costumes on and the full bit. There was even a Johnny B impersonator and a Buzz impersonator. We had to pull that slide to make room for some other slides. But wow, this is, I mean, again, you talking about the mixing of Chicago legends, Sven and Brandmeier together. This was some very, very funny business and some excellent entertainment. Gee, your memories on good old Johnny B and
Well,
Buzz.
yeah, I mean, Johnny B was the king of Chicago radio. I mean, there were many kings of Chicago radio back in the day. I mean, even today, I suppose. But in that era, right? You had like you had Johnny B and Steve Dahl, Gary Meyer, all of them were just titans of that era. I
And
wonder what they're up to now. Actually, I somewhere I just saw them, so but I don't know what I did with them. Somewhere I've got the. You remember in the '90s where there were those like fluorescent, maybe it's '80s fluorescent sunglasses, and on the lenses says "Yeah, baby."
yes, I kind
Yeah, I'm
of.
not gonna do it because I'm gonna hate myself.
Anyway, we
But
didn't know how good we had it with all the talent around town, be it the TV, be it the radio, be it the mashups. We didn't. I mean, we did and we didn't know how good we had it. We didn't. It's kind of thing you think it's going to last forever. Uh, didn't exactly, but that's why it's good to have YouTube around for highlight stuff.
I'm realizing in my shot, it looks like I got a shrub or something here. So just to explain it, because it's not fully apparent, this is a Chewbacca mask off here to the side. I don't have horror paraphernalia like Mr. C, so this was the best that I could do because it does kind of look like more like a wolf man or something than
We
Chewie.
can say Chewbacca was at least partially influenced by a wolf man. So you got that over your one shoulder and over your other
Oh
shoulder.
yeah, we got a stormtrooper helmet. That should be obvious enough.
The forces of good over the one side, the forces
Something
of
like
evil
that.
over the other side. You were being very
Let's roll with that.
Campbell, symbolic, hero's quest, hero's journey. All right.
Yeah. See, there you go. Somebody, yes, yes,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody's got it in their head now. Yeah.
All right. So now let's get ready to revisit those comments that came earlier on maybe one of the most famous or infamous moments of Sven's career.
Oh,
Now,
here we go.
again, as we learn in our youth, and then only in recent years did I learn that the same kind of dynamic went around nationwide. So here was a promo piece again off of the Fuzzy Memories TV. There's Sven and some of those same people from a couple shots ago with the 3D glasses, which as we were also eager and looking forward to it, going to 7-Eleven, as we've mentioned before on the show, picking up these aren't the same 3D glasses, but I did pull some contemporary 3D glasses, and what a disappointment it was to think maybe it's going to get better, maybe they're going to fix some dials around in the studio, but there wasn't so much actual 3D animation for the Revenge of the Creature movie, the sequel of the Creature from the Black Lagoon trilogy. But hey, what are you going to do? It was 1982. It was summer. We still got anger issues. I'm going to need to take these off because otherwise I'm going to do something in my own eyes. So go ahead. It was something that happened to all of us. But then, as I learned recently, the other horror hosts in the other markets, whoever they might have been, the same thing happened. There was, whether it was a Chicago 7-Eleven or some 7-Eleven somewhere else in a different state in a different time, other people were also sitting down that summer night or on some summer night in 1982 to catch it in 3D, and it didn't work for anybody. And so Sven and all those other horror hosts needed to take it on the chin and try to move on. Oh, gee, I can't hear you.
Muted myself. You got to feel bad, right? Because it's not their fault, right? I mean I get that we some people may still have issues, after maybe 40 years, maybe time to make peace with it. But I understand, right? And I like many kids or many people at that time, yeah, I was disappointed, but maybe the technology wasn't there, the fuzziness of the screen or whatever else, and yeah, it was unfortunate, and it was a big deal. Yeah, look, yeah, even in St. Louis, definitely not
Campbell
happy with.
confirmed. Campbell confirmed.
Yeah. So, it happened. It was unfortunate. It was something that we all look forward to. I remember going to the 7-Eleven on Devon to pick up the bunch of glasses with my folks, and yeah, that was kind of disappointing.
Frame of reference. So you just earlier today come from the current The Batman movie. Going
Yeah.
back to Batman 89, all kinds of hype and similar to blockbusters. I guess we're going to identify Jaws as the first blockbuster, summertime blockbuster that then generated the whole hype system. This 3D movie, yes, it was a disappointment, but that doesn't take away the fun you had leading up to it. Gee, if you're out there with the anger issues, maybe that's the thing. But wasn't it kind of cool to look forward to it? Wasn't it just the adventure of going to 7-Eleven? Okay, would have been better if the actual 3D worked, but it was still kind of cool to have a moment to put it together. And now, again, it's a common story. Clearly, if people were in St. Louis or Chicago or wherever else, now, hey, where were you in 1982? All right.
Not quite sure. I'm not quite sure I'm fully on board, but I feel you, Mr. C. I feel you, Mr. C. Yes, it's a memory that a lot of us have. Maybe not a great memory, but yeah, yeah.
Oh no! Again,
Yes, the
if
chase
you're
was there. You go. The chase was because it was hard to find the glasses. Actually, it was hard to find. It was a big deal to be able to find it at that one near there. And oh yeah, yes. See, thank you, Blue Sasquatch. Finally, somebody points that out. But oh, yeah.
I'm
See,
gonna.
no, come on. The 7-Eleven guy, come on. It's not their fault. It wasn't their fault. It
He
was just
said it, but you put it up
unfortunate.
on the screen, man. He said it, but you put it
It-
up on the screen. Lou,
it's unfortunate.
we'll come back on my Funko business. I want to stay true to Rich Koz for his birthday celebration. But Lou, I
Yeah.
will definitely, assuming you're going to come back to us another day, which we would very much appreciate. We can make Funko boxing, unboxing talk. It'll be good. What are we looking at?
See, in the box. It's in the
Hamilton.
box. See,
Well,
I'm gonna
if
put
we're
it
going to
away now.
here, where am I going to? And okay, so right over my head, right there.
Well, you
It's
have
either
one.
Vincent Price or Edgar Allan Poe who's still in the
Yeah.
box. So at least
All right.
I got one guy in the box still.
All right.
Where am I going? Okay, so that's that. Speaking of Sven's other contacts, live people,
Mm.
right? So we had Doug, we had Anita, the father and daughter musicians. We had George Blaze in the studio. We had Johnny B. Sven and Alex Ross go way back now. Again, Alex Ross, Chicago-based comics artist extraordinaire, also working the convention circuit with Sven. I mean, I don't mean they have the table together, but you could be at a convention, you could see an Alex Ross, you could see a Sven. And so this I thought was a more of a 3D image on the flat page that, I don't, maybe even I'd like to ask Alex Ross or Sven, was this somehow referential to the 3D not working out, that it's a really, the breaking the fourth wall and having a 3D image of Sven on this comic cover.
I mean, it's right there. He says, "Help! I'm in a comic book." That's awesome. That's great.
Get me out of here. Okay. Other Alex Ross piece. He's done a lot of plate work or circular. Now this one, talking about scary. So
Oh man.
corny jokes. Kerwin here looks like he's ready to. I don't want to put any appendages near him. Those teeth are looking really savage, and I've never seen Sven himself in real life look quite so bent out of shape as he does here. But again, credit to Alex Ross for being an outstanding artist, and great that he's an official chicken thrower and friend of the program for good old Sven. A little bit more on Alex Ross. And now, speaking about blurry memories and not connecting all the dots and putting things together, I would have swore that this image here, and let's go to the closer up of it, that this image of Sven in a straitjacket, I would have swore it was in the Kingdom Come comic book that Alex Ross did with Mark Waid back in the 90s. And I didn't.
Everything's going to be all right. Everything's all right.
Good. Thanks for asking, Jim. Thanks for asking. Anyway, I would have swore that this very image or a similar one, but I didn't go up in the attic and pull down the copy of Kingdom Come. So definitely here in this book, JLA, Liberty and Justice, you can see Sven, and then in his non-makeup, in his Rich Koz standard appearance, is right there. Flash has his hand on the shoulder of Rich Koz right there. Other legendary crossover kind of stuff. Here's good old Mad Magazine. Isn't around so much anymore, but for retro specials. And so they did some kind. I haven't seen this exact issue, but I just knew that it was the mashup of Alfred E. Newman dressed like Sven, which is pretty cool. Here's people in the mail-in segments or now in the online postings. So here's Pinky of Pinky and the Brain with the rubber chicken, with the film wheel, dressed as Sven.
That was a submission from somebody because that's like a thing of the submissions that happen on Sven. So was this a fan submission, or was it?
I believe yes. I'm not all the way positive.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Jumping on here. Oh, I said it was coming, and now here it is. So talk about guests and connections and stuff. If we look closely, peering through the door, and this is the doorway where Sven usually does the end of the show bit, where you see a hand and an arm in motion.
Oh my goodness!
A little bit more than a hand and arm. Can you identify the character on the screen who is not Svengoolie for us?
Well, I think that character is great for me to poop on. That is none other than Triumph, the insult comic dog. That is fantastic.
So you see, and again, it wasn't until I started putting our putting our materials together, Tombstone having the cigar in his mouth, Triumph having the cigar in his mouth, back to watching Conan O'Brien when Triumph was, an arm and a hand and a puppet behind the guest chair, dropping his cigars left and right. How do you keep a cigar in a puppet's mouth? It's one of the great challenges of Triumph. But again, I didn't realize the similarities between Tombstone and Triumph until just recently. There it is, the crossover of all crossovers. All right, I'm going to move on, and here's it. Gee, if you're there, maybe you're muted again. I'm not sure if you're just sitting back.
No, I'm just admiring the picture. I'm just admiring the picture.
Here's Gilbert Gottfried hanging out with Sven. I wouldn't say a super frequent collaborator, but definitely a part of the greater Sven community, and that's really cool. Again, just picking back up one of the museum pieces, showing that it was the 40-year anniversary and tribute. As we're moving on now, I want under the theme of Chicago institutions, in certain eras, as it says right there, that the rubber chickens were flown by or provided by horribles.com. If you go to the website, horribles.com, it's kind of expired. You're not going to get so much of a horror connection anymore. I also want to just jump down and say over here, so the Acme Design and the Jim, I'm not sure how to say Jim's last name, but if it's Roche or if it's Roche, Jim is always at the convention appearances with Sven, and is kind of the wrangler or gets the people organized in the line to do the signings and get Sven's signature and stuff. So I wanted to give credit to Jim in there also, besides giving credit to Jim Campbell. We're just giving lots of Jim's credits. But again, going back to here, let me come over here for a second. Going to 7-Eleven, getting your Slurpee and your comic books, that was a treasured experience. Once you found your Toys R Us or your other toy store or your cut rate toys that was by you, that was a treasured experience. Yeah. See, it's 7-Eleven. Maybe next time we'll do a Slurpee episode. That we wouldn't rule that out for some content material. So in that same way, finding a cool comic shop, all that stuff. So Sven's showing Horribles there. And so eventually back in the day, I said, well, let me see this place. And again, it's no longer here. And then it moved, and then it's no longer in the other place either.
It's too bad.
The Godzilla materials in here, and the horror figures and masks and the monster magazines. This was just a magnificent spot to be in. Again, long gone Chicago institution. Sven has out endured some of his of these other institutions. So at a different point in time, those end credits, besides saying horribles, would have read Izzy Rizzy's. And for those of us that hail from the South Side or have made a trip over to, again, which is long gone, closed now, Izzy Rizzy's Trick Shop was a lot like Fantasy Costumes. Good thing Fantasy Costumes is still around. But they had, as you can see, gag gifts, disguises, iron-on T-shirts, right? So now we can pick up a T-shirt through Amazon, but back in the day, either it was a pre-established T-shirt or you had to get some actual physical iron-on your T-shirt. Anyway, Izzy Rizzy's another Chicago location institution that had done business with Sven, but Sven has outlasted the store.
Just that, the iron-on shirt thing, that you triggered a memory for me. So we used to we grew up in West Rogers Park back in the day, and there was actually an iron-on T-shirt guy on Devon. It was closer to my house, near Rockwell. I remember that. I completely forgotten it. It was on the north side of the street. I remember that much. Yeah, that was a thing. Or even going to the Chicago Auto Show, I can feel that smell in my in my nostrils of that burning vinyl or whatever the heck it was. Those shirts didn't last all that long, but it was a thing. It was a thing at that time.
And again, on the fuzziness, so there might have been two spots. Maybe one of them was closer to Western, and maybe one of them was closer to California. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the kind words. That's where I'm going. Shirts. Wow. Shirts are business. So now I think they're on Fullerton now. I'm not 100% sure. Again, so I did some decent research, but not all the decent research. And they don't really do T-shirts anymore. They do more like corporate polos and other corporate wear. So maybe some safety related shirts, but definitely like if a business is either having a regular uniform or a casual Friday kind of a thing, they'll do like a polo shirt or a long sleeve shirt for that.
Yeah, crap. Exactly. I remember they had these enormous like binders of the iron-ons. And yeah, that was how you got your Star Wars shirt back then. That was what you
get
did.
Your Star Wars shirt. You'd get maybe a Frankenstein or something, maybe a little bit C-3PO. Not all of us could land the Gamorrean Guard T-shirt like Junkyard before the actual movie came out. And again, that was a big deal. I'm like, well, what do you know about this pig-looking warrior kind of? I don't know. I just got the T-shirt, right? But Junkyard definitely did well to land that T-shirt ahead of the motion picture release. And yeah, this is what it's all about, just reliving and enjoying all this stuff. All right, so moving on. I wanted to also look at the lighting because, as was traditional back to 1922 in the Nosferatu movie and in the 1931 Dracula and every horror movie that has existed thereafter, shadows and light were part of the legend, part of the scare element. So I just wanted to look, as we saw from the more contemporary pics, Sven and the show use some more traditional kind of TV-friendly lighting now, but back in the day, I have to guess the light was aiming up to cast the shadow, and so it was just kind of neat that in the horror hosting setup, one of their techniques and one of their tricks was to do lighting as such to replicate the movie. Again, there's a Doctor Who, as we had mentioned earlier. But again, one of the questions I'd love to, either we need to get the email to Sven or hope that Sven takes a look at what we've put here together. I'd just love to ask about the transition in lighting from those late 70s, early 80s era to the mid 90s to now. What led to the thought process to adjust the lighting setup?
Yeah, so Blue Sasquatch, yeah, that's kind of the way to do it. In the absence of that genre of iron-ons, yeah, it's great that kind of the new way of being able to print at home and democratize access to the iron-ons. I guess that's all cool. I kind of want one right now, something that's really vinily and is
aromatic.
Aromatic that's going to melt on the inside of my dryer. That's what I want from the 70s version or 80s version.
Speaking of cool contributions from Blue Sasquatch, remember last week you said Frankenstein Ralph, and it took some translation there. So now that I looked at the current iteration of the toy of the Frankenstein mashup with Ninja Turtle Ralph, yeah, that character looks really great. So I'm glad that Blue had tipped us off to that. So a little bit more.
I'm kind of thinking about. Sorry,
No,
got
no,
random
it's
stuff.
your call.
There's a last Ronin figure for the Ninja Turtles that looks pretty good. I really need to pick up those comics to. I think I have one of them, but I bought like number 2, so I'm missing the beginning of the story. Anyways, back to you, Mr. C. Back on topic.
Here we go. So as a summary shot now, during COVID times, as another timestamp or sign of the times, Sven couldn't make it into the WCIU studios all the time. So in a Batcave-like way, so we're going to just diagram this picture here a little bit. If we'll start in the upper left, there's Durwood. I should say, I think the name Durwood is coming from the Bewitched TV show where the mother-in-law or the mother witch, played by Agnes Moorehead, would refer to Darren as Durwood. So again, another question I'd love to be able to put in front of Sven: was Bewitched the name influence on your early supporting cast character of Durwood? So you got a wooden nickel in there replicating the giant penny in the Batman Batcave. And just immediately next to the wooden nickel, you can see the Svenmobile, and there's Tombstone on the front grille, replicating the Batmobile. And similar to how Batman has the different previous costumes in display cases, so the original Sven, the Jerry G. Bishop with the striped pants rendition, is right there visible. Moving on, next in time was the era where Son of Sven had the shiny green scarf, as you can see right there, followed by the turtleneck era, the red turtleneck under the black jacket. And then, as you can see at the foreground there, currently probably got a little hot in the turtleneck under the lights, so Sven converted to just a red dress shirt to go with his formal wear. Gee, any thoughts on the Sven cave?
I think it's funny that the wooden nickel says nonsense, so that's funny. Yeah, it's very cool to see the different. It's like the Iron Man kind of thing, or the Hall of Armor or something. That's cool. I'm getting kind of Beatles vibes here, but very cool.
I appreciate the Iron Man and the Beatles reference. Oh, that was dropping two in the same breath. You're landing two big references. Really good. Okay, Power Rangers Ninja Turtle mashup. Thank you, Blue. Another thing to check. Oh, now here's our hello.
One of these days we'll figure this out.
Okay, let me jump off this one. So just if you go to your app store, you can get Svenmoji, and if you go with that, look at these classics. There you go.
I will never get this right. So stupid.
Which leads me to say, ow, ow, ow. So if you want to make banter besides your regular emojis, here's a real fun way to tribute Sven, or have that Sven sensibility and sense of humor involved in your emoji-ing. So that's the one screen menu to choose from. Here's the other. Again, just a little back and forth. So for those of us who are unfamiliar, these are some of the classic lines or the classic sound bites that get played with the ow, 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 the Bugs Bunny voice with the so long screwy, see you in St. Louis, Jim Campbell, the old "aw, shut up, will ya?" and oh, no, sorry. So there were just, again, some different voiceover bits that are in there. And then here's some more just images. The opening credits show as you can see in the top corner there, Svengoolie's name in lights. Sven ready to throw a rubber chicken. I won't list every single thing, but what's really cool about the Frankenstein and then the one under the Frankenstein is they're animated. So he transforms from a regular tone Sven into a Frankenstein color and invisible to visible Sven. So those are some pretty cool and fun emojis. Continuing to move on, we have a little.
Yeah, I guess you
there you
could
go.
kind of try to improvise on
I
your
like it.
own.
I like
Yeah,
it. The hat and the eyes. I like it.
yeah,
Yeah. Blue's a real good. And
yeah.
there it is. There it is. Give it a little test drive. Okay. As we referenced last time, and I see we're going a little bit longer than we usually do, and that's okay. Maybe we'll do some clip outs. We'll have to see. So, as I referenced last time, the Brick Mantooth channel has an actual review of the Sven action figure. So I'm saying go ahead and this one's a little bit older, but go ahead and give that a check out because Brick Mantooth does some excellent work with the Mego type figures, as does Casual Crafter. So another one, as I mentioned last time, is Howlin' Wolf with his Chicago accent. So Howlin' Wolf actually has two separate reviews on the two separate renditions of the Sven action figure. The one coming with the T-shirt as is illustrated by me, and then the other one is with the red dress shirt as was illustrated by Sven himself. And one more to check out. So Raymond Castile, who you got, Jim Kimmel, same shirt, exactly, Jimmy boy. So Raymond Castile's Basement of Horror, he didn't just review. Look, he went full cosplay.
That's great.
You see the rubber chickens. You see he's even got a Bigfoot, a $6 million Bigfoot back there. He's got a Godzilla underneath. He's got a creature. So again, he does a lot of horror related content, hence the name of his channel. So he went full cosplay for Sven, except for the makeup. But you know what? It works. It works. Anyway, so he also had. Let me come back to it. He didn't just review the action figure. He reviewed the action figure and gave a whole tribute to Sven, similar to what we're doing. So again, that would be so cool if Sven himself checked out any of those 3 episodes or any of those 4 episodes between Brick Mantooth, Howlin' Wolf, and Raymond Castile. I would feel good about it if Sven knew that it's not just us, but lots of people are looking to have tribute. Thank you for the banner, sir. Thank you. Because Sven's just appreciated by a whole lot of people. Just kind of winding down then. And so it was funny then when the actual Sven figure was released from Action Toys Company, or Action Figure Toys. Boy, I said most of the stuff right. If I mess up a little bit, that's all right. So he did a bit at the time. They made their own mock-up of a Son of Sven and then set him against both the Hulk and Rubber Chickens. Why I think this is extra good that it was the Hulk character. And again, this is late 70s when the Lou Ferrigno Hulk TV show is on primetime TV. So years later at the comic convention, who does Sven get a little interview with or a little meetup with is Mark Ruffalo, who is the current actor portraying the Incredible Hulk. So it all comes together. As we said, just here's a little shot of Halloween that's just passed us by. And now that we've seen that, we'll move on from seeing it. Here's our cliffhanger, and then we'll. That's a good question, and I don't know if I have an answer for it.
That ain't happening. I'll tell you that right now. Even though I just pointed to the Chewbacca thing right here. Yeah, we're not. Maybe for Mr. C, but I'm going to pass on that. Anyways, back to you.
So we'll have a little bit of a cliffhanger here, and then a little bit more to go after the cliffhanger. So usually, Sven does appearances at both the C2E2 Comic Con and the Flashback Horror Weekend. But if we'll note the dates here, August 5 to August 7 of 2022, and if we flip over here, the Flashback Weekend is Sven. What will Sven do? Is Sven double booked? Can he be in 2 places at one time? What will come to pass this summer? Will it be cats and dogs living together? Will there be tumultuous chaos around the Windy City? Only time will tell. Rich Koz, Sven, we're so curious to know, how will your appearances shake out once we get to that first weekend of August?
I mean, he just takes the blue line up, right? He can figure it out, right?
Well, see, if it was the Rosemont-based, formerly Wizard World, now Fandom, then they're just across the street from each other. Right. But
Right.
now coming from McCormick Place
I
to
know.
get all the way across town to Rosemont, I mean, hey, he's got long lines of people waiting. Maybe some fans are waiting in the one spot and then he's in the other spot. Hard to say. It's never been double booked before, as far as I know. Will it be a tragedy? Will it be a catastrophe? Will Sven rise up as he had risen up
Dude
from the
can get a
future of wrestling?
transfer. Come on, man. Come on. He could, he could, he could show up at the thing. He gets what? You take the red line up and then you get onto the blue line and you're done, right? Ish, sorta. Actually,
Maybe.
don't know. No, actually, you need to take. I forget it. Dude
I was
can
about
figure
to
it
say
out.
maybe you just nailed the answer for us, but then he's a little bit of backtracking there, but that's okay. All right. This one, do you want to give a couple of words on what we're looking at?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry, Blue Sasquatch. Don't ever take don't take any kind of CTA advice from me. Come on. What? Yeah, yeah. All right. Yes. Next time we'll have Mr. C dress up as something. Quite sure what. Yes. Yeah. All right. It's the brain freeze,
The
maybe from the
7-Eleven brain
Slurpee.
freeze,
Yes.
even
Yes.
without the Slurpee.
Right.
That's how on it we are. We have achieved a brain freeze with
Oh
no
man.
Slurpee influence. All right. So G, this
Oh
one's
yeah.
yours.
So I think this is just a wonderful indicator of the Svengoolie, brand and how it's united so many people. So if you are on Facebook and you love Svengoolie, I highly encourage you to check out the Svengoolie group fans group. It's got yeah, I didn't realize there was 168,000 members of this group, but it's a very nice forum. The admins I think do a really great job. I don't post in there at all really, but I do like the commentary that's in there. People talk about the latest movie so unfortunately because of the time that we're doing this, I am missing Svengoolie right now. I'm on the West Coast, so and they time delay it, so it's like 7 o'clock our time out here. It's already over back in Chicago where Mr. C is. So I'm like I'm like talking to you from the past, I think, or I don't know, or the future. I'm in the future. I don't know how it works.
We're lost in that
Uh,
time loop.
I need to watch
We can't figure out
Back to the
which
Future.
train to get to. We can't figure out
It's
which
still
convention we're going
Thursday
to
out
be
here,
at.
man. Anyways, what was my point? Oh yeah, so fabulous group. Folks talk about the latest episode, but then people share parts of their lives, and it's actually interesting. There was one post today where somebody their son had actually passed away, and uh, our condolences to you profoundly. I think his name was Jim something. So obviously, our profound condolences to that person. People post about their memories of watching with their parents or with their kids or with their pets, and so there's a good group there. Folks are really invested in Svengoolie because I think it also connects us to that element of our past, right, or our fondest memories with family, with other people, and things like that. And so, what's what? Yeah, okay. So that it came after the MySpace. Uh, so yeah, don't know, and yeah, I think I'm gonna pass. And is this? Yes, it's still
Oh, the
it's,
upside down. Oh, the
the
down
upside
plate up
down
here,
is.
the upside down.
Yeah, sorry about that. Um, what's great about the Svengoolie genre is even though some of the episodes are still very scary, compared to like Stranger Things, you can generally watch it with your family, right? Some of it's still
Absolutely.
scary, still may not be appropriate for small children. Absolutely, your mileage may vary, but it's a different kind of fare, right? It's not the extraordinarily grisly. Um, blanking on the woman who gets killed in the first season, Becky in Stranger Things. She's in the pink sweater.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, I'm making it worse. So, so it's not like Sean Astin getting killed, kind of in a grisly way stuff.
So savagely.
So savagely, right? It's a different thing, and it's a nice way to bring family together. I think still.
Agree. And as you're saying that, that's so I'm not saying my dad was exclusively a horror movie guy. He definitely
Mhm.
was on the Bogart pictures and he had a wide range of movie knowledge, but absolutely right. He was born in 36. So the Dracula and the Frankenstein and the original stuff came out just before he was born, but was still in the lexicon, was still definitely culturally significant. Come the time of Lon Chaney hitting the first Wolfman movie, my dad is about as old as at that time, about as old as my son is now.
Mm.
To take the quick jump, when my son was younger, for the opening credits, we would count the skeletons as they'd appear in the opening credits for Sven. So, but that's it right there. Taking something that was important to my dad, that was conveyed onto me in my youth, and making a connection now to my son with it. Definitely the wife and me will watch Sven on a pretty regular basis. So it's just thank you, Rich Koz, for creating the opportunity, for creating the community, for allowing me to connect to memories of my dad and try to build memories together with my wife for my son. It's a real important thing to be able to have. I got one more banner
Now,
pick here.
before you move on, I mean that's a beautiful thing of what you just said here, there, right? I mean, Svengoolie has been around for literally decades, maybe not continuous because there were some breaks in the run, the change from Son of Svengoolie to Svengoolie. Uh, I that with these shows, even though it's just a TV show, right? You can dismiss it as that, but it's important in a way of connecting us to those fond memories that we have with people who mean a great deal to us. And so bring it back quickly to that Facebook group. That story is replicated by so many people who are fans of Svengoolie and fans of Rich Koz. Um,
And
and yeah, go ahead.
for that we appreciate, and for that we wanted to say thank you and happy birthday to them. 70 is a pretty big birthday to hit, so full recognition and full respect to Rich Koz for out of his 70 years having Blue says
Well, I mean that's right. Yeah, now with through the wonders of the internet, yeah, kids can watch all kinds of really messed up things on YouTube, and yeah, it's scary. It's genuinely scary. There's a pleasantness. I mean, because there is a editorial standard, there is a content standard that Svengoolie has. There's the really grisly kind of horror stuff. You will typically you won't see that on Svengoolie, which is great. It's just it's a particular genre. They curate it very nicely, except for the mushroom people, which traumatized me for decades. But aside from that, yeah.
our next Fanboy Cantina, a deep dive into the mushroom people. Maybe not. I'm
With
going
my
to jump for one
therapist.
more picture
And
here, and then G, if you can, not quite yet, but just if you could be ready to activate the fan cam. So Sven's all about the rubber chickens and the Kerwin and everything. So just after he was running into Mark Ruffalo at the C2E2 con of that year, I'm pretty sure it was the one right before COVID. So I'm pretty sure it's February 2019. So in getting the signature line with Sven, I wanted to give him again a little something goofy that's consistent with the humor and everything. So the Imagine Next line had the Chicken Man. So I passed to Sven this 3-inch tall Chicken Man again as another sign of appreciation. I mean, he's given so much. I don't know. It's one more thing on his shelf or what have you, but it's the thought that counts. I wanted to show the man some token of appreciation.
All my dad ever want, so a comment from Greg Guitar. All my dad and I ever wanted was to watch 3D at home back in the days of Let's Run. But I think of Happy Birthday, Sven. Oh man, come on, come on. Anyways, yeah, and shout, yeah, this is very nice. Entertaining three generations of Mr. C's family. That's awesome. Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. To be able to span generations with Svengoolie. And oh yeah, yeah, that is a really nice piece. That is a nice one.
Yeah, that's an Imaginext chicken suit. They some still available on eBay or a secondhand shop like a Smash Toys. Hard pressed to find one firsthand right now since it goes back a few years. All right, Chief, we're good to keep going.
Okay.
Either we
Yeah.
can do another thing, or we can knock down the rest of this.
All right. Let's see what.
Fan
So
cam.
we bring the Sven cam up. Should I hit the?
Oh, yeah, please do. Please
All right.
activate the
I
Sven
got
cam.
it. Oh boy.
All right, so here's Sven cam, and I just
All right.
wanted to highlight again when you meet Rich Koz and you get him in the line. So here's one convention we got a signature. Here's another convention we got a signature. He was also in the Niles Library for their fandom fest, so he's getting hitting around a lot of different spots around town. Let me get the
I
lighting.
feel like I should be looking this way so I could look at the thing, even though I can't see anything because I'm looking into space. Oh, that's cool. Can I go to the one shot here? Can I go to the one
Yeah,
shot?
that's good. Let's
All
do
right,
one
let's do
shot.
that.
Oh, one shot on Sven cam. There you go. All right, so here we go. Let me see how delicately I can do this and have the other stuff in the back. So this is again running back just a little bit that the then publisher or co-publisher of DC Comics got together with Sven, and it was Dan Didio. I'll never know if I'm going to say his name right. And so here's just pretty much a mini comic, again incorporating all that cornball sense of humor that you know and love, or that you know and tolerate. But so as it opens here's Sven and Green Lantern interacting with some cornball jokes. And as you can see, the Joker is involved as a villain. So now we got some Joker looking rubber chickens. We've got some Wonder Woman involvement here. I won't go panel by panel and word balloon by word balloon. There you go. Wonder Woman in battle with the rubber chickens. You can't get any better than that. Here's the Joker and Harley Quinn surface within the story, trying to get the better of Sven. But kind of hard to do because Sven's the title guy on this book. So do what you will, Joker, but you're not really going to get the better of Sven in his own book. Again, just the whole idea of the hybridization of Joker's clownish ways with the rubber chickens, incorporating that into the story. And so this full page shot here, right? We're in some kind of Justice League Hall of Justice lounge. Then all of a sudden there's the coffin just off over on the side. So, really good. Besides the story there, which was, again, celebrating the 40 years of the character of Sven, as we are tonight, recognizing the birthday of the Man in the Hat. There's a little promo ad. And I wanted to jump into this production material also because, look, there's the same picture of Jerry G. Bishop we saw. There's the image of Sven from his promotional shots for signatures back in the day. And this one is real important or real noteworthy. Who's a fan of Sven? Luke Skywalker himself, Mark Hamill. He's a little bit blurry as he's appearing on the Sven cam, but it's a beautiful thing that from your Doctor Who's to your Triumph to Insult comic dogs to your Gilbert Gottfrieds and all the other people to your bozos, that Sven has just had a far and wide reach. Just a couple more things to demonstrate, and then we'll wrap it up. These two skulls here, about 4th grade or 5th grade is when I picked them up because Tombstone was a cool thing. And it wasn't Izzy Rizzies or Horribles that they came out of, but it was whatever Halloween aisle in whatever store it was at the time. Let's come up to center stage a little bit more here. Let me drag him by his hat ever so gently. So again, the wife picked up for me bobblehead Sven. Talk about horror and creepy. We definitely got the Me TV bass down there. Get just a gentle little bobble on his head. The box that he came from is just like this, again, with all the classic bits and lines. I have a store, and just checking out I don't do much focusing, or we don't do too much focusing on the boxing or the packaging here, but I thought I'd go ahead and highlight the bobblehead. And now if I can just reach over and bring this forward a little bit, similar to your Brick Mantooth, similar to your Howlin' Wolf, similar to your Raymond Castile. I'm trying to get a little bit more. There we go. I think that's a little clearer in the image. Going back to our December 24, 2020 episode, which was featuring Mego and Imaginext together. He was not yet unboxed at that time, but here he is, the Sven action figure from Action Figures Toy. Instead of having the rubber chicken thrown at Sven tonight in 3D-like effects, Sven is going to throw the rubber chicken at us. Let's get his hat on him right there. Oh, he dropped the chicken, and that's all right. So again, I'm just credit again to the wife. She got this for me some time back, and this is a really great piece to have if you're a Sven fan. Just in a very old school and a Ray Rayner-like way. Just on the fanboy board back there. Happy birthday, Rich. If we can pull out of Sven Cam now and come back to the two shot at your convenience, sir. Thanks, Casual Crafter, for jumping in. Thanks, Jim Campbell. Thanks, Greg Idahara. Thanks, Blue Sasquatch. If I'm forgetting anybody who did chime in, the person who had the letters and numbers from the beginning with the 400 in there, thank you for jumping in for a minute. Again, this is a sentimental, heartfelt thing. We're clowning around a bunch, but Rich Koz, thank you for providing the character of Svengoolie for us. Thanks for being there on New Year's Eve in 1988. Thanks for the Kozone. Thanks for your time when you were doing the weather on the Channel 32. Thanks for the Three Stooges bits and the pilot episode of Chicago Stuff, which, best as I can tell, was only a pilot. And you had Emo Phillips on for your guest star. Just thanks for all that you've done for us for all these kinds of reasons. Glad to have you around. And again, I hope you do, you like the tweet already. So I'm not looking to be greedy. That's great enough in itself. If you happen to watch this, I just hope you see how important you are to me, to so many of us. And then, even if we were able to learn the answers to those riddles, and if we are able to get a hint for that cliffhanger, will it be flashback? Will it be C2E2? Will you be there one day and at the other place the other day? I look forward to seeing how all this pans out.
Sven is going to take the CTA, man. He's going to just get a transfer. He's going to get a transfer. You can do it with that card now. You don't even need that little piece of paper thing. Speaking of which, and random stuff, so I found my high school jacket the other day.
Yes,
and as supporting evidence of the last time that I had ever wore that thing, there was a transfer in the pocket. There was a paper transfer from like May of whatever year.
Yeah, I know we're looking to eliminate stuff, but at least that would have been a good picture to have for archive purposes.
Yeah, look at this transfer from back in the day.
So for Blue Sasquatch and anyone else who is wondering about the travel tips and travel arrangements, this is a man who didn't realize his high school had changed names and changed its whole setup. So yeah, you want to take transit advice from this guy who lives out of town now? I'm not telling you no.
Oh, geez. All right, here we go. Anyways, for my part, I just got to say, also in appreciation for Rich Koz and all of his work, it's a story of resilience that he has, right? It's to have a character, a show that lasts literally generations is unheard of. It's very, very rare. And how he was able to change the formats a little bit, change the comedy, with every decade or every year or that he was able to evolve it, also evolve the technology too. That's an accomplishment. To also do the pivots from different channels, right? It was Channel 32 back in the day, and then it was what Channel 26, I
Channel
think,
26, which then became part of the MeTV
and
affiliates. And
now the
that's just the thing. At the time, Channel 32, whoever it was, I don't need to
yeah,
know. I don't need to name names. This guy's not a national act. This guy's not the direction we're looking to go. But now here he is, prime time, Saturday night, nationwide.
right.
So
No, it's a remarkable story of like accomplishment. And one of those kinds of changes could be a setback for somebody, but instead he was able to persevere. He was able to do not just the Svengoolie thing, but also a Three Stooges thing as well. He was also on WGN. He, I think, did the news, or like he was the sports guy at times. So it takes a lot for somebody to survive in the Chicago TV business or any kind of television business, and be able to have such a long lasting career. And with Svengoolie, I mean, it's truly, truly a gift that he's given to so many of us. And, so I really appreciate Rich Koz. And, if you are watching, Rich, thank you so much for everything that you have given to us, all of the memories that you've given to us, and a forum for bringing families together or friends together for that matter. So really appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, so Sasquatch, I appreciate you for even hanging out there for all of this episode. Focus on, yeah. So yeah, just give us a jingle when you're done with done with that. And that, but yeah, also thank you, Jim, for adding this. He had, I think, two heart attacks, right?
one 2002 and one in 2012. And again, as the years blur, I thought his heart attack was just within these last couple of years, but
That's
we're
right.
already
That felt like that.
going on 10 years after his heart attack,
Yeah. No,
after his second heart attack.
that's right. Yeah, it felt recent to me as well. It felt recent, but you're right. It's like yeah, 10 years.
I just want to say back to Blue Sasquatch, if we check out the Brick Mantooth channel, he'll say the same thing in his review. He hadn't actually seen at one point in time any of Sven's content, but still did the review, being a big appreciator and big person in the industry of YouTubing and Mego related materials. And again, so Figures Toy Company and Mego aren't the same company, but the overlap, the similarities are profound. So Blue, I just giving another plug. I just wouldn't hurt to go over and check out the Mantooth for the review on the Sven figure.
And I want because you had created some of these sources. I just wanted to flip them up here. So in some cases, we referred to images from MeTV or WCIU. The references. So if you're interested in any of the materials that were shown earlier, definitely, obviously check out MeTV, where Svengoolie is still running. But check out the Museum for Broadcast Communications, and you can visit them at Museum TV. I'm not going to say .com because that's not right. So
Right.
visit them at Museum TV.
See, of course, heaven, you want to say .com. But
Yes. And tell us a little bit of. So this was earlier. You had this.
right, because if we look at the RondoAward.com, again, that'll show you the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards. Maybe in a future episode, we'll break down a little bit more about the now deceased former actor Rondo Hatton and how the awards got to be named after him. But again, that's for, Elvira wins sometimes, Sven wins sometimes. Again, there's a lot of great other horror hosts out there. So as this is full tribute to Sven, but if that's to your interest there, if you're trying to YouTube around or look at different sources, I've just recently picked up on Dr. Gangrene, and he's just a pinch older than us, not of Sven's generation, but he's got some good cornball material out there and a great knowledge and a great reverence for the classic horror pictures also.
And just two more quick banners because you did cover this. Check out these YouTube channels, and I really want to spend. I've watched the Fuzzy Memories TV channel quite a bit. They have the Hard Rock Coco and Joe
There you go.
bit, and Susie Snowflake, the Frosty the Snowman. But then there's also such a rich amount of clips or full blown episodes of just wonderful, wonderful Chicago memories. So I appreciate you for referencing Fuzzy Memories TV. And then Obsolete Video, you shared some pictures earlier there. That one I'm less familiar with. So actually, tell me about that channel.
Well, if you just keep going in your YouTube search and popping in Svengoolie, son of Sven, and you watch one and the next one comes up, eventually you'll come across some Obsolete Video. Now, they're not exclusive to Sven content. They have a great range of things. They'll have some vintage. They're very similar to Fuzzy Memories TV, but with some difference in their content. So as are Bozo and Svengoolie similar and also different, so goes the similarities and differences between Fuzzy Memories TV and Obsolete Video. There will be different content, but it's the same concept of preserving these nuanced memories, these things that you forgot about until you see it pop up again. So a lot of nostalgia factor, there's good stuff out there to relive and enjoy if you so choose, if that's of your interest.
Yeah, no, I after this, I'm going to check it. I'm going to check that out. I would love to see some of that, and also see some of the other channels that you had referenced as well. And yes, I feel you. I've wondered this myself. We don't have to cover it right now, but
I'm just casting a little light. We got some Addams Family movie and Addams Family TV. We got some classic horror Funkos. We got some Munsters over here. There's Count Chocula in the back. We got Pennywise over the top of my head. We'll be back another day to go through the wall of Funkos. But I appreciate the debate we can have. Blue to box or unbox, to package or unpackage. We'll come to that another day.
Well, anyways, yeah, no, that's and okay, all right, yes, Elvira. Much love for Elvira as well. All right, so just to flip it up quickly, this was our Svengoolie tribute, Mr. C. Thank you for organizing this. This was a lot of fun.
Labor of love. Again, just a quick, it's great to have Rich Koz around, and we just wanted to give some recognition of that and have some fun on this here channel while we're doing that. And this may be our lengthiest episode to date, and that would be,
My goodness.
You got 40 years of material you're trying to cover here. Clearly, we didn't cover everything. Clearly, there's other stuff that could receive a greater highlight. But hey, for tonight, happy birthday, Rich Koz, and thanks for being an important part of our history.
Yes. No. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Rich Koz. And yeah, I was having so much fun that I lost track of the time. I didn't realize. Yeah. I guess it has been that long here. Anyways, okay.
Well, hey, Blue, it's good, man. It's good. It's hey, you the door is always welcome for you, Blue. You're a loyal. When you're in the entertainment or restaurant business, sometimes some customers are come and go. Sometimes you got your regular customers. The way to keep the doors open is to be good with your regulars. And Blue Squatch, you are no doubt a regular customer in this cantina. So you deserve the quality service from the hospitality staff.
and he does, and Blue Sasquatch does say happy birthday, Sven, as all of us do. So, all right, are we good, Mr. C?
It's been one. Thanks for everybody for checking in, tuning in. Again, if you're watching not live and you want to drop some comments in about anything, about these Chicago institutions, or who is your horror host in your area, or what are your thoughts on the cliffhanger of C2E, any of the stuff we covered, feel free. Be happy to have you in the comments.
I'm going to repeat myself again soon. Yes, post down in the comments because we do love to hear from you. We do love to hear from you. And if you have travel suggestions for how Sven is going to get to the Hyatt Regency, just let Mr. C know. And all right, all right. Thank you so much for watching. And if you could do us a favor, hit the like and hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel. It helps us grow. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, Mr. C. Thanks for watching. This has been the Fanboy Cantina. Have a good night. Take care.